Hello friends, here I am going to talk about that meninges of brain. Myself Dr. G. Umarani, Associate Professor in Department of Anatomy. Please watch this video till the end. I gave some interesting clinical aspects related to the topic. So the meninges of brain. As everyone knows that the brain is a very important but delicate organ. It is highly protected and safely secured in the cranial cavity, and it is protected by bony covering of the cranium, that is that cranial vault, that is calvaria, and three membranous coverings known as that cranial meninges, so known as that meninges of the brain. So there are three meninges of the brain, from outer to inner. The outer layer dura mater, the middle layer that is the arachnoid mater, and the inner layer that is the pia mater. And whereas arachnoid and pia mater are together known as the leptomeninges. And the brain security is enhanced by these three meninges and the fluid layers between them. So the brain almost floats in the CSF without putting its weight on the neck. Developmentally, the dura mater is mesodermal in origin, whereas arachnoid and pia mater are ectodermal in origin. That is, they are derived from the neural crest cells. So we'll discuss about that each meninges of the brain. So the first one is the dura mater of the brain, that is outer endosteal or periosteal layer, then inner meningeal layers. So this dura mater, it is continuous as that spinal dura mater, and this cerebral dura mater, the two layers, they are completely fused, but except in some spaces they forms the walls of the venous sinuses, and they are separated at the venous sinuses, and they forms the walls of the venous sinuses. In those places they are separated, and the venous sinuses are dural venous sinuses in the brain. They receives the venous blood from the brain cranial bones, and it communicates with the extracranial veins through the emissary veins. So here we can see that the two layers, that is that outer layer and inner layer separately. So here you can see blue color, this is the dural venous sinus, and that this dural venous sinus are during this space these two layers are separated, and the outer layer is loosely attached to the inner surface of the vault of the skull by numerous fibrous and vascular processes, and it is firmly attached to the base of the skull along these sutures and around the margins of the foramen magnum. So because of this firm attachment at the base of the skull and the loose attachment at the inner surface of the vault of the skull, it easily stripped from the vault of the skull but not from the base of the skull. The inner layer encloses the brain, and at the foramen magnum it becomes continuous. And so there you can see some places this meningeal layer is folded on itself and forms the dural folds. So there are four dural folds are present: falx cerebri, falx cerebelli, and diaphragma celli, and tentorium cerebelli. So this is the outer layer and this is the inner layer. These two layers encloses the venous sinuses. So this is about that outer layer of the dura mater of the brain, and this dura is sensitive to pain, especially where it is related to this dural venous sinuses and meningeal arteries. So example, we can see many headaches appear due to dural in origin, because when there is a lumbar puncture of for removal of the CSF, because of the stimulation of sensory nerve endings in the dura mater, the person may feel the headache. So this dura is sensitive to pain. So this is about the dura mater of the brain, and this dura mater, the cerebral dura mater differs from the spinal dura mater by presence of these two layers. The second layer, arachnoid matter of the brain. So this arachnoid matter is a thin transparent membrane which invests the brain loosely and surrounds the brain without dipping into its sulci, and it bridges all irregularities of the brain and continues as a spinal arachnoid at the foramen magnum, and it ends at the level of S2 vertebra, and this is the arachnoid matter. And this arachnoid matter shows they are finger like processes, and they arising from the surface of the arachnoid, and they are covered by specialized mesothelial cells, and which convey the CSF into bloodstream, and thus so it helps in absorption of CSF. The same way arachnoid granulations are macroscopic. They are small fleshy elevations, and as with advancing age, this arachnoid villi enlarges in size and forms this pedunculated tufts called the arachnoid granulations. So these arachnoid granulations are like arachnoid villi helps in absorption of the CSF. So the presence of this arachnoid villi and granulations helps in absorption of the CSF which is present in the subarachnoid space. So this is about the arachnoid matter of the brain. Next, third layer, that is the pia mater of the brain. So the pia mater of the brain is also a thin transparent which closely invests the surface of the brain, and it is called vascular membrane, and it is adherent to the surface of the brain, and it follows closely to the irregularities of all its surface, and this pia mater can better defined around the brain stem. And this pia mater is having the two important distinguishing features, that is number 1 tila choroidae and number 2 in choroid plexus in the ventricles of brain. So in the ventricles are cavities of the brain are 4 in number: lateral ventricle, third ventricle and fourth ventricle. So these ventricles are lined by that specialized and there is a double fold of this pia mater is known as the tila choroidae. So here in this image you can observe that green color cells are known as the ependymal cells. So this type of appearance are present in the ventricles of the brain. So when the double fold of pia mater is formed, so this is enclosed by the tuft of capillaries, so and thus forms the choroid plexus. So when the double fold of pia mater, that is a tila choroidae, is enclosing the tuft of capillaries, then known as the choroid plexus. So this choroid plexus helps in production of the CSF. So this is the characteristic feature of cerebral pia in the ventricles of the brain. So this is about the pia mater of brain. So these are the three layers, about the three meningeal layers of the brain. So now we'll discuss about the intermeningeal spaces, the spaces which present in between the meninges. So that is extradural space, that is epidural. It is potential space lies between the extracranial bones and endosteal layer of the dura mater. And second layer, that is the subdural space which lies between the dura and arachnoid mater, and this is a capillary space and it is traversed by the cerebral veins. And the third, that is that subarachnoid space which lies between arachnoid and pia mater, and it traversed by that network of the trabeculae. And so because of presence of this trabeculae, brain, and the cranial nerves also passes through this subarachnoid space. And in some areas, in certain situations around the brain, so that there is enlargement of this subarachnoid space known as the subarachnoid cisternae. So this they contain large amounts of CSF and they forming the pools of the CSF. So the arteries which present in cisternae forms the arterial pulsations. So through these pulsations, the cisternae helps to force the CSF from the cisternae onto the surface of the hemisphere. So the cisternae themselves forms the cushions around the medulla. So we can see here the cerebellomedullary cisternae 1, pontine cisternae 1, interpeduncular cisternae. So these are the spaces which forms the pools of the CSF. Then through the arterial pulsations, the CSF from the cisternae, it enters onto the surface of the hemispheres. So this is about that intermeningeal spaces, that is extradural space, subdural space and subarachnoid space. Now we'll see that what are the special arteries present in these spaces. So epidural space. So in that epidural space, you can observe that the artery, so that middle meningeal artery is present. This middle meningeal artery is the branch of first part of maxillary artery, and this middle meningeal artery, we can see the two branches, anterior branch and the posterior branch. The anterior branch of middle meningeal artery has having some surgical beneath the pterion, this anterior division of middle meningeal artery present. So whenever there is a fracture of the skull, then middle meningeal artery beneath the pterion so may gets damaged and may causes the hemorrhage or hematoma at the epidural space. Then that subdural space, this is a subdural space. We can see that some veins are located, those are known as the cerebral veins. These cerebral veins passes and enters into that venous sinuses. Then these are present at the subdural space. So now coming to that clinical importance of these meningeal spaces. So that first is that extradural hematoma. This extradural hematoma, they are result from the middle meningeal artery. Already we saw that extradural area space contain that middle meningeal artery. So that middle meningeal artery torn or break can cause that hemorrhage. This may cause the extradural hematoma. So it is arterial in nature. So it is very fast in nature. Then the subdural hematoma, and it is from the tearing of the cerebral veins which enters the superior sagittal sinus. So this is the venous in origin. That's why it is slow in nature. And the subarachnoid hemorrhage, this is occur because bleeding within the subarachnoid space by that torn of the cerebral arteries. So because cerebral arteries rupture of any aneurysm of cerebral artery may causes subarachnoid hemorrhage. So that's why you can see that extradural hematoma and subarachnoid hemorrhage, the both are arterial in nature, they are very fast, whereas subdural hematoma is venous in origin, it is very slow. So these are some clinical importance about that subdural space. And one more important, that is the shaken baby syndrome. So when someone forcefully shakes a baby head, then child head rotates uncontrollably because infants' neck muscles are not well developed and it provides little support for their heads. So this violent movement pitches the infant's brain back and forth within the skull, then sometimes rupturing the blood vessels and nerves throughout the brain and tearing the brain tissue. It is very fatal condition, and the brain may strike the inside of the skull and causing the bruising and bleeding to the brain, especially subdural region, that is at cerebral veins affected mostly at this condition. This is that shaken baby syndrome. If a baby is shaken fast vigorously, then brain can hit the inside of the skull. So this is a clinical condition about that subdural hemorrhage. So these are the about meninges of the brain and intermeningeal spaces. So thanks for listening, and if you are not subscribed my channel, please subscribe, and please give your valuable comments in comment section. Thank you for listening.